Giraffes are icons of the African savanna and one of the most popular animals to see in zoos. Humans have always been fascinated by them. Their place in culture is unprecedented. They're one of the first wild animals kids learn about growing up. Shockingly, however, in recent years, giraffes have been suffering from a massive downfall, and their numbers are dwindling at a rapid pace. And the shocking part is, no one knows about it. Why is this happening? How could we as protectors of the natural world let this happen to an animal as majestic as a giraffe? Are we to blame, or is it something else?
Hey guys, my name is Eddie, and I'm a zoology student who has dedicated his life to animals. Now before we get into it, if you like content about conservation and animals, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We have a goal to reach 50 subscribers by June, and I'm excited for you to be a part of the journey.
Giraffes have always been an animal that has sparked me with such wonder. They're graceful giants of the savannah that show the majesty of the natural world unlike anything else. Growing up, giraffes were part of my big three along with zebras and elephants for iconic African herbivores. I remember visiting busch gardens as a kid and always wanted to do the tour and feed the giraffes there, but never getting that opportunity. But stay tuned because later I might have a little surprise in store for you guys.
But currently, I'm at one of the best themed zoos in the world, Disney's Animal Kingdom, and we're gonna go on Kilimanjaro safaris. Come on, let's go.
Giraffes are even-toed ungulates who come from Africa. Their most iconic feature is obviously their necks. With a wild adaptation like that, you're probably wondering why are they built like that. Their extendo necks are used to eat the branches and leaves off the tops of trees.
So basically, giraffes Mr. Fantastic themselves reach the top of trees so they wouldn't have to compete with any other herbivores in the ridiculous server that is Africa. Does that make the lions Dr. Doom or the other herbivores in the server?
Africa is one of the few places left on Earth with a vast amount of megafaunal diversity, or, in simpler terms, a vast variety of animals competing in the same space. You see a bunch of niche partitioning where these larger herbivores stick to their niche to avoid competition. There's also a bunch of fierce competition among the carnivores because of it.
So giraffes wanted to duck all smoke and avoid fighting, so they got their own niche. Pacifists to the core, these guys, for real.
Giraffes live in small herds of 10 to 20 individuals. Groups of giraffes are called towers. These groups are loose, however, and except for mother and offspring, they usually separate and go their own ways after a while.
Giraffes don't do commitment, hyper-avoidant attachment style on these guys. They should go to therapy for that. I should go to therapy for that.
Giraffes are usually more runners and not fighters, but they are dangerous and can easily swing their legs and kill whatever tries to harm them.
So yeah, don't be an idiot and try to bother a 12-foot tall murder horse, please.
There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of debate on whether giraffes are just one species with a bunch of subspecies, 2 or 3 separate species, or as many as 8 species. The latest 2024 study supports a 4-species model, but for simplicity's sake, I'm going with 1 species for this video. But I'll highlight some famous subspecies like Maasai and reticulated and their cool patterns.
Bro, scientists are always arguing about the wrong thing. If it walks like a giraffe and talks like a giraffe, it's a giraffe, bro. Come on.
While yes, this does sound pedantic and unnecessary, it is in fact very important for conservation and making sure we preserve the specific species we have. But yeah, a giraffe is a giraffe.
There actually used to be a lot more species of giraffe back in the day that were actually stockier and more built than their tall, lanky, modern-day comrades.
Today, the only other members of the giraffe family are okapis and the even more distantly related pronghorn. We'll have videos on them eventually. But there used to be a bunch of other giraffe species ranging all the way out to India. One famous one is the stocky and tanky Civatharium.
So what happened to all these other giraffes? Well, a mix of things, but overall the same thing that's plaguing modern-day giraffes. Us, humans. And I aspire to be as unbothered as giraffes are for real. An Animal Kingdom on the safari really tries to put you into their world and try to put you into a world where you see the fragility of nature as one of the last truly wild spots protected in Africa. It really puts in perspective the fragility of nature and the role we shape with it, almost like how the role we shape with giraffes has influenced their trajectory as a species on this planet.
Giraffes and humans go way back and made a name for themselves together. In Africa, most animals know to steer all the way clear of humans due to them being around us for longer than animals in any other part of the world. But as humans started moving around the world, large animals, or megafauna, from all across the globe diminished, including giraffes.
You hear that, guys? Y'all gotta fear me. Y'all gotta fear me. Fear me. Fear me.
Humans have had a fascination with giraffes for thousands of years. Giraffes have always represented fragility, grace, passivity, majesty, and femininity in art for generations. 8,000 years ago, the Kiphians created a life-size rock engraving of giraffes. A lot of African cultures use depiction of giraffes in their religions, usually referring to more feminine deities.
So basically, as my fiance would say, giraffes are a big hit with the girlies.
Giraffes actually were among the first zoo animals ever. Ancient Egyptians held them in their menageries and shipped them across the Mediterranean. Giraffes were first brought to Rome by Julius Caesar in 46 BC. Different giraffes had gained fame throughout the ancient world, like one giraffe in 1414 taken to China and placed in a zoo that became a sensation among the people. Then in the 1800s, Zarafa, the giraffe, was brought from Egypt to France as a gift for the king. Zarafa became a sensation and the subject of a lot of memorabilia and paraphernalia, or as they called it, giraffenalia.
Giraffes were rock stars in their heyday, catching the awe of every human that set their eyes on them.
Giraffes are still one of the most commonly held animals in captivity. Zoos all across the world house and breed giraffes. There are at least 1,380 giraffes in captivity between the US and Europe alone. All across the world, there is almost an expectation that a zoo must have a giraffe.
I mean, giraffes are super popular ABC animals for a reason. We just like them so much. It's clear to see why giraffes are so popular with mankind. An animal as big and as majestic as them is obviously going to spark our wonder and imagination. We've taken them with us everywhere we've gone. But why are they dwindling at such a rapid pace? And why do we seem to, not really care?
Giraffes were common hunting targets for many peoples across Africa.
I mean, it's a huge animal that'll feed your whole family. It makes sense.
But each part of their body had a purpose. For example, yes, there's a lot of meat on a giraffe, obviously, but their skin was used to make drums, and their hair was used to make fly swatters and the like. So native Africans used all parts of the giraffe and didn't let anything go to waste. This is normal, and most people groups have done this relatively sustainably for generations.
But I want to get to the real issue that is way more modern. Let's fast forward all of that and past colonization and everything, and let's get to the 20th century.
Let's start in 1985. The giraffe population was estimated to be 155,000. By 1999, it was at 140,000. In 2016, it was estimated that there were now 97,500 giraffes. This shocked scientists, finding these gentle giants slowly whittling away before their eyes.
Right under their noses, some scientists they are. So why was this happening?
The theories are a combination of factors, but the biggest being habitat loss. Africa is the fastest growing continent on the planet, and obviously people need places to live. With large animals like this, human-animal conflict is sure to arise. Giraffes have gone extinct in Mauritania, Guinea, Senegal, Angola, Nigeria, Mali, and Eritrea. Giraffes normally don't compete with farm animals for food since they eat leaves off the tops of trees. But in the Sahel region of Africa, where the Sahara meets the savanna, deforestation has been happening at a rapid rate for firewood and making more grazing area for their farms. In 2017, Kenya suffered from the most severe droughts it ever had, and it led to a lot of killing of wildlife. But giraffes were particularly hit the worst.
Man, giraffes really were going through a lot these last couple years, huh? I guess we share with them more than we thought, huh? Yikes.
The bushmeat crisis is also a major factor as well, as giraffe meat is highly prized in some markets. They're also popular targets in trophy hunting.
Side note, I can't think of a less cool hobby than paying thousands of dollars for a guide to take you somewhere so you can shoot some animals.
Most legal trophy hunting puts the money right back into conservation, but still, it's not a fair fight for the animal in my opinion.
So with all this happening to giraffes in the wild, it's probably good we have so many of them in zoos, right?
Giraffes in zoos need a lot of space and enrichment to avoid showing stereotypical behaviors of bad care, such as swaying or licking inanimate objects. These are animals that are used to having miles and miles of livable space. It is possible to house them well, but many places don't do the best jobs. So please, try to do research on a zoo and make sure their giraffe care is top notch. Usually following AZA accredited zoos is the best policy, as they have to follow certain standards of care.
Okay, fine. We're doing a lot wrong. What are the positives? What are we doing good for giraffes then?
Across Africa, there are many national parks and protected areas where giraffes live. Giraffes are illegal to kill in most countries that have them. Killing them could lead to a lot of jail time. Doesn't stop bushmeat hunters though. In zoos, giraffes breed relatively well, and there is a large population of them in captivity.
So in captivity, we've created a Noah's Ark for giraffes if worse comes to worse. That's probably why we haven't noticed their struggles in the wild for so long.
Giraffes are almost a representation of humanity's relationship with nature. We find it awe-inspiring and marvelous. We want to protect it and keep it for ourselves. But let me ask you, is that freedom? Is nature doing its job of biodiversity if we just pluck everything from its natural environment and take it for ourselves? We love giraffes. We want to see giraffes. We want to take care of giraffes. But do we want to let giraffes be giraffes? Nowadays, most giraffes are either in zoos or in protected zones in Africa. Their population is being fragmented and separated by the borders of these national parks and reserves. It feels like a sterilized existence. We've become so bad at protecting our wild areas that we need to block it off from humans and designate it as a zone for protection. The fall of giraffes has been silent because their reasons for going extinct aren't sexy or flashy. It's just a representation of how humanity has treated the planet. Habitat loss, exploitation, climate change. Humanity doesn't like answers that are slow. We want an immediate scapegoat. We want to pin the tail on something and fix that thing. My past 2 videos have shown cases where it was just as simple as one thing with a massive impact on the animal. But with giraffes, that's just not the case. 2 beautiful white giraffes were spotted in Kenya in 2016, a mother and her calf. They caught the world by storm, and everyone was amazed by their beauty. The video of them went viral worldwide. In 2020, 4 years later, the mother and baby were found killed by poachers. A hard blow to the local community working hard to protect them. This is the state of wildlife in the modern day. Nothing beautiful can exist without it being commodified or taken from us. We need to work better as a planet to protect a wild world and not let it get sterilized.
I'm here at Central Florida Zoo, and I'm here to live up to that promise I gave you on the beginning of the video and get as close as I can and feed some of these majestic giraffes in person. So let's go. Thank you.
We can't let these beautiful giants be confined to a sterile existence. Good zoos do a beautiful job teaching the world about animals. They've picked up the slack for breeding these animals and keeping them around, but this shouldn't be the only way left to interact with wildlife. There is another iconic animal that went through a similar but worse decline, but we actually saved them and brought them back to big numbers in the wild. If you want to learn about how we were able to do that, click on the video on screen now.